Hi there, this is Mike Broadbent. I'm going to do a tutorial for Blender, and this is all based off my website that you can find at techified.weebly.com. And if we go over to Design and Fab and come down to Blender, that'll take us right here. And what we're going to be basing this video tutorial off of is this useful mini course created by this gentleman. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. We'll call him Bass. And basically he starts you off as though you know nothing about Blender. And my students here in high school find it very useful. However, I think it would be some would benefit from supplementing this with the video tutorial that you are currently watching. So if we scroll on down, you can see some of the things that are covered in this course. An earlier video, I'll do the one on the house, and this is the one we're going to do today, and we'll take a look at some of the others a little later on. So if I scroll on down, excuse me, I'm in the preview mode here, so I can't just select the exact page number. And basically this is what we're going to be trying to simulate. And I won't stick with the exact tutorial. You can follow that as you like, but I will just complete that item here in Blender. And I'll direct your attention down this way. You can see that my entries are all coming up right here. So that's left click and right click and spacebar and all that stuff. So I'll escape just in case I pressed anything. So first thing we want to do is we're going to delete that particular mesh, and then we're going to add the UV sphere mesh. And hopefully you can kind of follow along with the mouse clicks and the entries that I'm doing right here. So I'm going to switch into orthographic mode by hitting 5 on the number pad. That is not currently coming up in my keylogger. So if I hit the number pad, I'll try and remember to tell you that I'm doing so. So I did 5 to change it to orthographic mode instead of perspective mode, and you can see the evidence of that right here. So I'll show you again. That's perspective mode and then orthographic. And then I'm going to hit 1 on the keypad to look at from the front view, and we'll scroll in a little bit, and I will tab into edit mode. I'm going to hit A to deselect everything, and then B to block select. Now before I do that, I want to come down here and check this little feature, and basically what that does is it limits the selection to only what is viewable. So if I leave that enabled and I hit B to do a box select, and I select all of this, and I want to get rid of that, so I hit X, and I'm going to select vertices, because that deletes not only the vertices but the lines that are attached to it, and then subsequently the faces, so it'll get rid of everything. It's essentially delete. So I get rid of that, but you notice that we still have that left, and that was because of that little feature down here. So I'm going to Control Z out of that, hit 1 on my number pad to go back to front view, and I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. I'm going to disable this function, and now I will B box select to come down and select everything, and hit X, vertices, and now it's all gone. Similarly, I'm going to hit B for box select, and I'm just going to take this line, and there's different ways you could select that line, but we'll just go with that box select method for now. Hit E to extrude, X to lock my extrusion along the X axis, and I'm going to extrude that out 3 inches and hit enter to complete that extrusion. So you can see the effect of that. Now I want to fill this in and take out this, well, it'll still stay hollow, but I'll at least close it in. So I'll press F with all that still selected, and as you can see, that closes that in. So I'm going to look at it from the top-down version, and I'm going to tab back into object mode and hold Shift B to duplicate it. Now that has been duplicated, and you can't tell because I haven't moved it yet, so it's just one on top of the other. But I'm going to leave it there for now because I want to hit R to rotate and type in 180 to rotate it directly around. If I hit Z or Z, whichever you prefer, I'll go into wireframe, and then you can see them a little better. And hit G to grab, X to lock that movement that the grab initiates along the X-axis, and I'm going to hit 6 because I want it to move 6 inches. And of course now we need to pull that back on the screen, and you may or may not have picked that up down here, but to pan, so this is what my scroll wheel does. If I only use my scroll wheel, if I hit shift and hold that as I scroll, you can see what's happening, and shift is indicated here. And so instead of scrolling up and down, I'm holding control, and that'll pan back and forth. So we can see this is selected, but it's the exact same size as the other half. So we have to hit S to scale it up, and we're going to scale it up 1.1 and hit enter. And I did that on the number pad so you didn't see it come up in the bottom left. And now we have a bit more overlap than what we need, so I'm going to hit G to grab again, X again to leave it on the X-axis, and I'm going to put in 0.3 just to move that over so we don't have quite the same amount of overlap. Now I'm going to hit Z to get out of the wireframe, and next what we want to do is take a look at the material. So over here we have all sorts of things that we can manipulate. If trying to confuse it with this particular world icon, and come over to this materials icon, and we're going to hit new for new material, and if we click on the diffuse section and we take that out and we make it 1, and we just make that 0, make that 0, now we have red just through our color spectrum here. And I'm going to double click that, and I'm going to rename that red in case I needed it later on. I won't in this tutorial, but you might be doing other projects where you're going to want to use that exact same color that you just customized. So that's a good way to remember which is which. And basically what we can do now is we can switch into, we can switch out here and switch into select our camera, and if you hit 0 on your number pad, that'll take you into camera view, and as you can see, the camera isn't exactly where we need it. So while you're here in camera view, you can hit G for grab to move, and we're going to move the camera just where we need it, somewhere around there. So now when I render this thing by pressing F12, you can see that we have it from the angle from which we need it. I'm going to escape out of that because as you can see it's still pretty bumpy. So I'm going to go back into my top view by pressing 7 on the number pad. And you didn't have to do top view, it could be any view, but seeing how that's what we've been doing our work in, that's what I'll stick with. And I'll right click to select that side, and I'm going to click smooth, and you can instantly see the effect. And to see the result of that, there you go. It's very clear the difference between the two. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side and hit smooth, and when I press F12 we can see that I have a nice kind of realistic looking capsule here. And that is the end of that one. So if you're a student of mine watching this, you would want to come on up and hit save as, and wherever it is you want to save that, I recommend to your H drive, so you can access it from any of our computers here in school, and you can save it to your H drive. And just to clarify, I'm not going to be strictly speaking evaluating this one. This part of the tutorial helps you develop the skills you'll need to conquer the challenge that follows it, and this is what I'll be evaluating right here. So you need to create a rocket using the skills that you've acquired in these first 2 challenges, and of course your completed project should be uploaded to Google Classroom. Alright, I hope you found that helpful, and we will catch you in the next tutorial. Thanks.